Hello, hello. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. This is going to be a group energy healing where I heal 141 people in 12 different countries. And it is the March triplet set of 2026, healing 3 of 3. And the theme is abundance, safety, and peace. And just a reminder, there will be no post-healing chat today, just because my husband live streams later tonight. And so that's the way it is. Every Wednesday, that's the case. So for me, that's just once a month, where on Wednesdays, there's no post-healing Q&A. But the healing will be fabulous, and I'm looking forward to getting to it and explaining what we're doing today. Okay, so a lot of what I try to work on in energy healing is helping not only to do the best healing possible, like as far as my preparation and picking of techniques, stuff like that, but that it's most effective, like for real, with all my different clients, like you guys. And so part of that is somebody's ability to receive the healing can change drastically based on what they're going through in their life at that time. And also, it can vary greatly between one client and a different client as to how long the healing lasts, like how long that the really cool effects of the healing last. And obviously, maybe not obviously, but for me, the goal is that you get stronger and stronger and stronger, and you're more knowledgeable about energy healing technique because, it's all in chapters and there are little more approachable videos you could use. And, so if you choose to, you can educate yourself consciously more to this stuff. But also there's, all the telepathic consent clients that are relatives basically of my conscious clients, and I want them to benefit greatly too. So the idea is that you would evolve, so it's not just like you keep having to get healings because otherwise you're screwed, right? Ideally, you maybe do keep getting healings, but it's just because it's like this fabulous luxury that is affordable and educational, and it's like you get to experience firsthand the different techniques and then pick and choose which ones you want to do more on your own. And, so it's like this sort of glorious educational, restorative, fun thing. But it's like, meanwhile, you're growing stronger and stronger, and you're growing smarter and smarter as a self-healer. So technically, you don't really need the healings, in the same way as you originally do. You just really enjoy them and benefit from them, but it's not like a dependency thing, right? So, part of helping people to receive the most from each healing, like receive the most benefit from each healing, and let me know if you can see and hear me. I haven't gotten any confirmations, so hopefully I am actually broadcasting. We'll see. I think I'm broadcasting fine, but we'll see. So yeah, please let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Otherwise, I'm going to have to try to watch myself, which just takes a little bit of time. But anyway, so I think this technique, healing mini U's that do a resistant tailspin, is going to help with all that I just talked about. In other words, it's going to help you be more empowered in the long run and more even subconsciously self-healing in the long run, because that's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool to know consciously about energy healing and consciously get stronger with your intuition and know what just happened to you, why you feel a certain way, and what technique to do to heal it, right? That is very cool. And I'm always pleased to see that people really do get that over time with these healings. But to be able to even subconsciously change how empowered you are, how strong you are, like how you react subconsciously in the moments and minutes and hours after you get challenged, with invasive energy. There's a contrast that is between people if you get attacked, right? Say by your crabby sister or your, bossy neighbor or your former spouse or whatever, right? There's sort of two extremes there are two ways you could react, right? And I'm sort of making them a little bit more simplified than they really are, just for the point, is that you could go into a resistant tailspin where you're like, I'm being attacked, I'm being invaded, and you basically, you're maybe just subconsciously, you're putting up resistance walls, and resistance walls are hard and they're made of your own resistance. And so I'm calling it a resistant tailspin because I guess like the term tailspin has to do, it started with planes that get shot and then they go down, and they're going down and down and down, and they're in a tailspin, right? And so it's like things go bad and bad and bad really fast, right? But it also can mean like an emotional or a mental tailspin, right? Tailspin, where, what happens when you get challenged on an energy level. So that there's the resistant tailspin, and that's on one end of the possibilities, right? Which we don't want, because the problem is resistance, it's hard, and so you're just weakening your space even more going into resistance. And so it doesn't make you safer. It usually makes things worse, and it kind of freezes you in that headspace of like, and so you're not thinking of like all the smart knowledge that you have consciously or subconsciously about healing and gold light and all this cool stuff that you could be doing to repair and make yourself safer, right? So we don't want that resistance tailspin, right? Resistant tailspin. So the alternative, so if we heal those parts of you, then you won't have those parts of you anymore. They'll become just healed and whole, and along with the rest of you, right? Because so then hopefully more and more likely in more and more situations, you'll just have an empowered reaction to when your energy gets challenged, which would be, even just subconsciously unblocking, generating more gold light, standing strong, holding your ground, being non-resistant, having more flow, right? Because you're generating you can sort of stand your ground, stand up, stand your ground on a spirit level, generate as much gold light as you can, and just, like heal and repair and get a lot of strength, because you're enhancing your flow, and so the gold light is giving you more flow, and it's giving you more strength, and it's repairing the damage that already just happened. So that's the ideal, right? So anyway, that's the idea. And so this directly goes towards the safety aspect of our theme, also peace, but also abundance in an indirect way, because I was noticing some people, their abundance wasn't getting healed as much by the healing because they were just blocking the healing accidentally through stress and resistance. And so that's just a general thing that can happen, that people go into resistance, and it's totally unfair, because it's like you go into resistance because crappy things happen to you, maybe, and it's like you have all this terrible stuff triggered and you're like, but that resistance blocks gold light from your angels, so it's harder for your angels to heal you, even subconsciously, and it partially blocks the gold light I'm using to try to heal you in healings that you've paid for. So, versus, when you're empowered, you're actually generating more gold light. You're standing strong, or at least, standing as strong as you can in the moment. You're unblocking, and you're very receptive to, clean gold light that you choose to receive. You're able to receive, gold light from your angels, and, gold light from a healing from me that you've paid for. So anyway, that's long story short. It's way easier to do than it was to explain that. But I wanted to take the time, even though my time is tight today, because I feel like maybe we'll see how well this benefits people. But if it benefits people a lot, then it could be kind of a cornerstone that we build on and kind of keep track of. Because obviously it's good to have these healings be as helpful as possible in that sort of that long-term sense of like your growth and your involvement. So, hope that makes sense. But we'll see. Maybe it's just like a good technique, but not a great technique. We'll just have to, if you fill out your surveys, and you don't have to have any enlightened comments in your surveys. Just let me know how you've been doing it since the healing type answer. But then I'll review and read and see, if it was just a good technique or kind of a big deal technique. We'll see. All right, so that's that. So that's somewhat new. I mean, the heal meaning use is not new, but the concept of a resistant tailspin versus, an empowered reaction when your energy is challenged, that is something I've sort of hinted at here and there, but never, this is the first time to really base a technique on it. Other than like sometimes we unblock, we melt blocks for resistance, but that didn't seem to be like it would be enough for this. Like that, it seems like there are really stuck parts of people that are so in love with doing a resistant tailspin. Well, not in love with it, but so they're damaged in a way that they're very much attached to going into a resistant tailspin, even if we do the standard, let's unblock to be non-resistant. It's like it doesn't work with those parts of you. So hopefully this will work, and hopefully it will have a big good effect rather than just a so good effect, but we'll see. We'll see. So, and then we'll do another heal mini use one, very targeted to help abundance. Because I think it is possible, that you can have parts of you that are just super stuck about abundance, and that unless we focus on those parts of you and heal them, it may never change. So hopefully, so that should be interesting to see the effects on that one. So again, if you fill out your surveys, and then I'll be able to, intuit if that technique helped a lot or not, how much it helped. Because, we're doing the twin set later this month on these same themes again. I mean, we meaning me and everyone who has a full subscription, and people who choose to purchase manually, which you could still purchase. There are spots available for the March twin set, which also works these themes on my website, jwhealing.com. But anyway, so that's the other thing we're going to do with Heal Mini Use, and that one will directly help abundance, most likely. Okay, so this one that we're going to do today, it has to do with facilitating a vibrational shift. And unfortunately, vibrational shift, it sounds very woo-woo, you know? It's like it's harder for me to describe it in a literal sense what I mean. It's kind of like maybe if you use like a ship metaphor, and like so there's you're the ship. The ship represents your body and your spirit, right? And so the ship is in the water, and if you unblock enough and clear enough old pain from past lives or this life or whatever, or change your attitudes, you know, unblock enough so that your attitudes change and some of your self-care changes and yada yada yada, you can undergo a vibrational shift, and it's like the ship is lighter in the water, so the ship is higher up in the water. So it's still in the water, but it's just not as weighed down by cargo. You know, cargo meaning thoughts, behaviors, old baggage that, you know, make it harder for you to move forward, make it harder for you to be buoyant and bouncy, enjoy your life, right? So I guess that is how I could describe what I mean by a vibrational shift. It's a shift in how you operate, and both on a physical and also a spiritual level. So I was thinking about that as far as abundance, basically, because, you know, that's one of our themes. And it seemed like a lot of people actually that I'm healing, including myself, would be able to go to a different level of abundance if they were able to have a vibrational shift, you know, and lighten the ship, right? So it's higher on the water, so it can move forward more easily in terms of abundance. And also I noticed that creativity could also be benefited by a vibrational shift. So if you perchance are so awesome with abundance that you feel like you have no abundance issues whatsoever, meaning you have no issue earning money, but also earning enough money and managing your costs, and, you know, you just feel like you always have enough and everything's great with that. That's beautiful. But I think also the vibrational shift technique that we'll be doing, you could use it for creativity as well, to kind of expand your creativity and open it up more. So how we will do a vibrational shift, this is interesting. Again, it could be one of those things where I read the surveys later and reflect upon it and find an even better way to assist a vibrational shift in abundance and or a vibrational shift in creativity. But for today, we're going to unblock chakra filaments enough. Now, chakra filaments, as many of you remember, are the connections between your 7 physical body chakras and your 7 astral body chakras. So both those chakras are along the spine. It's just that 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 along the spine. You know, the physical ones are along the physical body spine, and the astral ones are along the astral body spine. And then they're connected. Each one of them is connected by a filament. So there's a 7th chakra filament, a 6th chakra filament at this level, a 5th chakra filament. And then you only see them spread out like that in reality if you're asleep, right? Because then your body's in bed, or if you're doing an out-of-body meditation. So then your body's in bed, or, you know, whatever, and then you're out. Your spirit is out. Say if you're on the astral because you're asleep, or you're on the astral because you're doing an out-of-body meditation. Then, you know, the filaments are stretched out like that because you're not in the same place. But in a meditation, you can just stay present and just imagine them separate like that. Imagine your body and your spirit separate, and then see the filaments and then unblock them like that. If that blows your mind, if that's too complex to imagine both sets and the filaments in between, I suppose you could just make a big pile of all the blocks in any of your chakra filaments that are healthy and gentle to clear right now, and just melt them as a pile if you want. That's not how I'm going to do it, but sometimes people want alternatives. So that's your alternative. So that's that. Another thing we're going to do today. Okay, so this is a new concept, not like groundbreaking new, but it is new. I don't believe that I've discussed this before in a live stream. So I call them blasting beings. It's a type of invasive being that it can mess with your sleep. It can cause you to wake up. And wake up way more frequently than you would like. Or just wake up once, depends. But they're invasive beings, but they don't so much like whack the crap out of you or anything. It's more just like almost like kind of like a foghorn or something, like a ship, like it's some kind of like on an energy level. It's just a sound that I think they direct it at you, but I don't know really. They just don't seem as aggressive as other invasive beings. Like they're not, I don't know why they would do it. It seems weird. But they don't try to like destroy your chakras after that or anything. They just blast you to wake you up. I think maybe then they just study you as you're like, as you woke up, so it's just sort of like a curiosity for them or a sport maybe. But you don't have to worry about why they do it, just that they do it and it can get in the way of your sleep. So you can have your angels recycle them. So you can kind of look, okay, are there any blasting beings that might be messing with my sleep tonight? You can do it proactively. And then, if there are some, just imagine them like in a lineup, just angels, can you recycle these beings? And of course, if you wake up in the middle of the night for no reason, you don't even have to go to the bathroom. You just woke up for no reason. That could be one of the things that you suspect is, oh, well, maybe did I get woken up by a blasting being? And if so, just imagine any blasting beings that could be interfering with the duration of your sleep, how long you sleep, your quality of sleep in any way, and then just have them recycled. I mean, of course, you can have any invasive beings recycled that are messing with your sleep whenever you want, just by ask your angels that. Angels, can you please recycle any invasive beings that are messing with my sleep? But I don't know. I found it especially effective just to know specifically about this type of being and to kind of check specifically for these guys. But I've only become aware of them in the last couple months. Because like I said, they're not really like super destructive. They just screw with your quality of sleep because you wake up when you otherwise wouldn't have woken up. And duration of sleep is helpful. Like the longer you can sleep, is helps you go into deeper sleep cycles, yada yada, which is more restorative and whatever. So this is kind of a teaching point. We'll do it in the healing, but it's also just something to that you might be interested in checking on, in the future. Because, we can recycle them today, but maybe you pick up some, tomorrow or next week or next month, And so if you have that problem with waking up at weird times when you don't think you should have woken up because you don't have to pee or something, and your angels didn't ask you to wake up so that you could remember what you did in your sleep or something, then it could be one of the possibilities. That's easy to deal with. You just have them recycled by your angels. Okay, so today, the final thing I wanted to discuss before we just get on with the healing is leaky joints repair. I think that we'll repeat what we did 3 days ago in the second healing in this set of repairing leaky joints, including leaky joints in the spine, and getting specific. And I'll show images of facet joints of the spine and then disc joints in the spine. And I think it is good to know about both of those different types of joints. I'll do like a very fast explaining of it today as I'm healing, as opposed to 3 days ago where I was much more detailed. So if you need that detailed version, you can listen to the healing 2 of 3 version. But because you could have leaks in the disc joints, but not your facet joints, or vice versa. Or you could have leaks in like one side of your facet joints and one part of your spine and not, everywhere else. So, I mean, if you like sort of precision work, it's nice to know. But you can do them all at once too if you want. Just repair all the leaky joints in your spine, and other major joints like hips, shoulders, ankles. And you can, I think that I did see a difference that helped people in the last healing, this 2 of 3 healing that we did 3 days ago. The leaky joints repair, I think it helped people to be more present. Some people, it reduced their joint pain. Not everyone though, but some people it did. So that's nice. And then one other thing I wanted to mention, there were, I think, 2 people that mentioned an unusual level of fatigue after the Sunday healing. And I think, of course, part of that could be because, in the US, the clocks got set forward. So you may have gotten an hour less of sleep than usual. But I just wanted to highlight that the melt your debtors jail technique that we did in the Sunday healing, I think was especially needed and especially effective for some people, and they were releasing a lot more. And then if you're trying to release a lot more and your grounding blocks, halfway through it, then you can get cranky or you can get sleepy. Or you can get like confused and unsure of yourself. Which can happen just in regular life when your grounding gets blocked too. So it's not exactly that the healing caused it, but I just wanted to validate that if that did happen to you, maybe redo that technique more, because it could be that it holds extra value for you and you can get more mileage out of it if you go back to that one. And again, that one, it's called Melt Debtors Jail. I think I called it, or Melt Debtors Prison. I forget what I called it in the chapter, but is basically you're melting unhealthy control that's still in your space from when you owed somebody money or whatever in a past life or earlier in this life. So that was cool, and it looks like it helped people a lot. But a few people, they were really tired just because they were releasing so much, and it was hard for them because their grounding may be blocked a little. So anyway. Blah, blah, blah. Enough talk. Okay, thank you for your chat comments. If you would, give this live stream a thumbs up. If you could, there's my thumbs up for you. You are amazing. And if you could give the live stream a thumbs up if you want to, that does help. Someone says, hey, Janet, I can hear and see you from sunny Las Vegas, 78 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny. Ooh, wow. Wow, that's wild for March, early March. Someone says, you could definitely grow tomatoes. You have a nice long growing season for tomatoes. Unlike us, we have a shorter growing season for tomatoes. I haven't even started mine yet because if I started them now, they'd be too big before I can put them outside. Someone says, hope working the resistant tailspin will help mom with the timing. She is at home but very weak. Well, I don't know that it would help with her timing, but I don't think it'll change her timing. It might allow her to get more benefit each day, because the more non-resistant you are, the more you're able to let go and receive. And so maybe she'd be able to receive even more, like from this healing and also her angels. So it could be a more rich experience for her each day. Yeah. So there you go. Alrighty. So I'm going to be quiet for a minute or two, and then I'll start the healing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think the 5 essentials part, which we always do towards the start of the healing, will be most beneficial if I just do the grounding of those 5 essentials first, and then we go right into that technique that I want to do today of heal mini resistant U's. Heal mini U's that go into a resistant tailspin when you're attacked or stressed, because it does help you to receive gold if you don't have so much of that part of you and you're more just empowered and centered and everything. So then you'd get a lot more out of the rest of the 5 essentials, the chakra repair, specifically. Also creative ring repair and back of head stuff, and aura repair. So, so this will be just grounding and the mini resistance tailspin parts of you. That was explaining. Let's do it. So you generate gold light with your hand chakras and your fingertip chakras. You can just set those energy centers with your intention or your thought to a metallic gold color. You don't have to be able to see energy to do any of this. Right? So set them to gold. So that means they're generating gold light. Unblock one with the other so they generate as much gold as possible. Wash out these energy centers and unblock them so they generate more gold light. And then just have a copy up in front of you of both of your groundings. Make your groundings, of course, big as all your auras, and wide, that wide all the way down to the core of the earth. Okay? And bring them up high as your third chakra, which is right there, so that under your sternum bone, so that your groundings give extra support to your first, second, and third chakras. You can make a copy out in front of you of your everything, your groundings, your physical body and your astral body, and all your auras that are around your physical body and astral body. Right? And just use gold light and wash out your grounding. Make sure it's wide all the way down, even in the back. And scoop together all the blocks and use so much gold light that they melt away. Scoop together all the blocks in your grounding. Use so much gold light that they melt away. Scoop together all the junk, hard objects and blocks in your grounding and use so much gold light. You melt it all away. If there are any invasive beings in the way of you doing this healing and restoring and unblocking work, you can just say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this healing, can you please recycle them? And that's, of course, not perfect. If you notice some later as you're working, you could say that again, but it helps. Okay, so now we will do the heal mini use that go into a resistance tailspin as opposed to when you are challenged, when someone's throwing energy at you or you're stressed or whatever. Whatever. So just imagine the parts of you that really get stuck and are like, which could be subconscious parts of you that you're not aware of. So if you have any parts of you that go into resistance when the going gets rough, just imagine those parts of you out in front of you. They could be parts of you that are stuck from a past life or parts of you that are stuck from last week. Doesn't matter, right? So just imagine all these mini yous. They get stuck and go into a resistance tailspin rather than being empowered and being like, yeah, I can do this. All right. And then just say hi to those parts of you. Hey, it's okay. You deserve a healing. And just be nice and comforting and gentle and use gold light, and you can use red or orange or yellow earth energy brought up from the core of the earth and more gold light. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with these parts of me, can you recycle them? And as they get fully healed, then they'll dissolve and you'll get the energy back and it won't be that way anymore. That part of you won't exist. It'll just be a part of the whole part of you. But go ahead and keep healing these resistance tailspin parts of you until they just dissolve like that and they're not stuck anymore. If you want, you can use your intuition as you're healing just to see, okay, is this from a past life? Is this from, last week when I hung out with my bossy sister? And some of these parts of you have been stuck for many lifetimes, or it was just something, it was a stress that was kind of extreme. So they might still be stuck. And if they're not stuck, see if you can find more that are still healthy and gentle to heal and put those mini U's out in front of you. Any other resistance tailspin mini U's. But if you still have some and you notice they're from a long time ago, like maybe a past life or a long time ago in this life, you can say hi and just explain like, hey, that time is over. Things are okay now. I'm older. I'm remind them of the year, that whatever situation got them this stuck is not existing anymore, most likely. You can remind them what year it is now. Sometimes that helps to kind of snap them out of it. Sometimes a part can get stuck like this and stay stuck even though you're healing it because they're waiting for some acknowledgement of like some empathy. That because to be stuck in a state like this and you feel like people don't understand what you're going through can kind of you can get stuck in a way that you're kind of glued that way, because you're just like waiting for someone to say, that must have been hard. I'm sorry you had to go through that. So you can try that if you still have more parts of you that are stuck and they haven't, gotten better and dissolved and joined the rest of you. Just try to be empathetic like that. Say, I'm sorry, whatever you went through must have been pretty hard, and I'm sorry. That's not fair that you had to go through that. But you stay here and, don't have to sink into your heart chakra. Just be empathetic, but you don't have to match the pain. Say, hey, I'm sorry you went through that. And if you still have parts of you that are stuck in this mini parts of you that are stuck in this resistance tailspin, say, angels, can you please help me finish up healing these parts of me? All right, good job, good job. Woo! Okay, so now we'll just do the rest of the 5 essentials and we'll do them pretty speedy, just, I don't know, because my time is tight tonight and also most of my veterans prefer it that way anyway, without the explaining. So if you're a newbie, I do love you, I swear. And there are other versions that have more explaining in my short video playlist. But anyway, so grounding. Unblock your grounding again. Double check that. We could do collapsing gold nets. That's nice. So big cube of gold netting all around you, including your grounding, including all your auras, and just collapse it in. Have the gold netting drag and catch any invasive beings and drag that out. Angels, here you go. Collapsing gold nets. Get the invasive beings out. Angels, here you go. We can do some quick chakra alignment. Although chakra repair, maybe some people, their chakras aren't aligned properly because they're damaged. So we'll have to get that too. Let's do aura repair first. So make a composite copy, just an image of a rip, and have it represent, if your intention say, okay, this represents all the rips that I have in all my auras. And if you're home in a, a safe energy cleared location, like your home private location, you could use the WoW version of it where you just flame on so much gold light that gets everybody out and starts the repair and does the repair. So much gold light that you kind of bake everything out that's in the way. And the Wei Qi aura gold mesh spheres recreate, and rips mend up, hard objects explode fully. And with the leftover rips, in case you have any of those, we'll do the version of aura repair that you could do if you're in a semi-private location, like a parked car. So imagine a copy of a rip and just say, okay, well, this represents any leftover rips that I still have, and use sticky gold wax. Gold light that sticks to everything that's not you, fill up the rip with that. So then all the junk in there becomes a big lump, and give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax, get rid of all the junk, hard objects, invasive people, invasive beings. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax, lift all that out. Angels, here you go. Then you can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you recycle them? Couple deep breaths. All right. Back of head stuff. Let's do some of that. I will get to chakra repair. I just feel like doing it in different order. So, good karma windows are back here, in the back of behind your head in your astral body aura 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They look like triple frame windows, and they can get all smashed up. And when they're smashed up, then you can't keep that area safe properly, and so invasive energy can get through. But if they are repaired and nice and unblocked, not only is it safe and it's very hard for invasive energy to get through there, but then it's a nice way for you to bring in positive change energy through the back here. So just, if I'm doing myself, I would double check one by one, 7, 6, 5, 4, just to make sure each one of them is safe, meaning repaired enough that no invasive energy can get through. And the inner ones, like good karma windows 4, 3, 2, 1, those are the ones that are most likely to be damaged. Because most people have more stuck energy in the inner layers because they're less present. They're less likely to be present in their lower chakras. And if you're present and your chakras are unblocked, then you generate more energy. And that flow unblocks your auras and makes them stronger. So that's why the inner aura layers tend to be less strong, because they're more blocked, because you're not as present there. Long story short. Long story long. So you could also just unblock all the auras in the back of your astral body and your physical body. Block especially the layers closest to your body. So we're talking about astral body aura and physical body aura, because those are the ones that have 7 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if there is a newbie that listens that's like, oh my God, that was over my head, if you can kind of state, under the video later what went over your head, or the timestamp maybe, and then I could suggest other videos or explain in better detail All right, so let's do, oh, we can quickly do the meridians in the back of the head that are in the diagram right there. So base of skull points are right there and right up there. So it's 2 rows of points, one at the level of the top of the earlobes and one at the level of the bottom of the ear. So 2 horizontal rows of points. Acupuncture points, which therefore are small chakras. I call them minor chakras. So we're using gold light. You can also make a red earth energy grounding all the way from the core of the earth up to the base of your skull and the back of your neck. The angels, can you recycle any invasive beings that are in this area? From the base of your skull, the back of your neck, and the auras right behind there. Couple deep breaths. All right, I think I'm going to come back to the base of skull stuff. I want to do chakra repair right now. So this is the basic chakra shape, an open cylinder, equally open on both ends to facilitate releasing energy out the back. So you can make an image of a chakra like this thing that I just showed you. And just say, okay, well, this represents all my chakras, all major chakras, all minor chakras of my body and spirit. And then just use lots of gold light and here and unblock. So the question is this aura repair that I'm doing for the people that I'm healing more effective than it would have been, or more effective than, say, the last healing and the healing before that? Because before this, we healed the mini U's that go into resistance tailspin. It looks like, yes, it is. This chakra repair is more effective than it has been in recent healings, but we'll see as to how transformative that is for people and how lasting the sort of more evolved approach to things. Anyway, so chakra repair, use gold light and melt away the blocks, and you repair any damage, which could look like cracks or missing chunks or gashes that shouldn't be there. The blocks can be inside the chakra or around each round opening. And keep in mind, too, that it could be some people's chakra repair, when they're doing it on themselves, is less effective than when I'm doing it on them. Well, for a couple of reasons. One is that maybe I'm using more quantity of gold light, or maybe I'm spending more time on it, or maybe I'm less resistant as I do it. So that tends to make it more effective. Or also, maybe my intention is specifically that the copy that I'm healing is for all major and minor chakras. And I think maybe a couple people that I'm looking at that, their chakra repair is way less effective. They're only repairing, their intention is to repair their chakras. They're thinking chakra repair. So they're not really hearing that I'm saying that you should repair all your chakras at the same time, meaning all those cool acupuncture points in your body as well, and other chakras that you have. So they are only repairing their 7 major astral and 7 major physical. So that's not the same as also repairing all the minor chakras as well at the same time. So your intention matters. And you can, with your intention, just, melt any leftover blocks that are healthy and gentle to get rid of that would help your abundance, that would help your quality of sleep, it would help your safety, energetic safety, or literal physical safety. And that would help your creativity. And that would help your quality of sleep. All right. Cool. Let's do creative rings. So creative rings are up here, 1, 2, 3, 3 gold rings that are a part of your astral body energy system. So they're right above your astral body head. So you can make a copy out in front of you of your 3 gold creative rings and use a lot of gold light and repair and unblock and melt cords. Oh, in chakra repair, we were melting cords too. I didn't say it out loud, but that's a significant part of chakra repair is melting cords and having your angels recycle invasive beings. I did it. I didn't say it out loud. Sorry about that. So anyway, creative rings. So go ahead, melt cords going into your creative rings from people. And as far as invasive beings, cording your creative rings, you can say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings cording my creative rings? So creative rings, as well as the round openings of chakras, have flaps. And you want the flaps to relax and fall shut. But this is what it looks like when they are open. That's what flaps look like when they're open. So that's like a top-down view of one of your creative rings. You don't want them to look like that. You want it to just be a smooth outer surface because all the flaps are shut. So don't force anything, but just keep melting cords and unblocking until those flaps fall shut. So I'm going to add, I'm not done with the 5 essentials yet. I'm kind of taking my time with those and adding a lot of the extra stuff just for today into it. Just because I think it'll be cool and time efficient and interesting. So I want to repair joint leaks in your spine and major joints right now, and then finish up the 5 essentials after that. But I'm not sure I said out loud, I meant to, but I want to preview that in the March twin set, which is coming up. Like I said, there's still our spots available on my website, jwhealing.com. The March twin set, we will do more than just repair joint leaks. We'll work more with the same joints, the facet joints and the disc joints in the spine, and also the major joints in the rest of the body, like shoulders, hips, knees, elbows, wrists, ankles. we'll do an extra step beyond just repairing leaks, which I think will be fun and interesting and feel good for those of you that feel consciously the energy healing techniques. So I just wanted to, give you a heads up on that. So, I mean, obviously you could purchase the healing and experience it that way. If for some reason you don't want to buy the March twin set, just keep an eye out for the techniques that will be in those explained and used in those healings coming later this month. On the I think it's 19th and 22nd. Hard to see. The calendar's really far away and the numbers aren't that big for this year's calendar, unfortunately. I don't want to misquote it. Yeah, it would be Thursday the 19th of this month, March 2026, and Sunday the 22nd. That's when those healings will happen. So for at least one of those, we'll work on more beyond just repairing joint leaks. Okay, so now let's do, that was explaining, now we'll do. All right, so let me get those graphics up. All right. So I explained it in the last healing. That's a super close up, right there. That big, those giant bones look like big dinosaur bones, but they're just close ups of the bones that make up your spinal column. So here in this smaller graphic, you see, all the vertebrae right there. So each one of those is one of those giant bones right there viewed from the back, right? And the light blue, those are facet joints, pronounced facet, even though it's spelled F-A-C-E-T. So anyway, you can heal all those joints. Also, it shows a little bit the disc joint. The disc joints are in the front, or the center maybe of the spine. And that's like a bigger cushy area in between each vertebra, in between each bone. And so all these joints help you to move, right? And turn and do cool things. But energetically, so they're super important even just for that reason. Like crazy important. You want them to be happy your whole life, if at all possible, right? But also, you want them to not leak energy, because if they leak energy, it attracts invasive beings and they just don't work as well. And so the energy can jam up more, and then you're more likely to have discomfort and physical injury manifest in that area. So you can just use gold light and red earth energy and run it through all your disc joints of your spine, your vertebrae, all the disc joints in between your vertebrae, and the facet joints in between your vertebrae. You have a set of facet joints on the left side and a set of facet joints on the right side in the back. So back left and back right. And it's okay to have your vision be like slightly distorted, in that if one of them is leaking energy or a couple of them are leaking energy, you can make it really visually obvious, like make that joint like day glow green or day glow pink or something, or make it have comically giant gushing energy coming out of it, just so you can notice the leaks if you're having trouble noticing leaks. And again, the point of repairing leaks, there's a lot of reasons. It helps you be more present. It also makes you less appealing to invasive beings and invasive people. So then the invasive beings more of them will just leave your space without you doing anything, just because you're not leaking energy, and they like leaking energy. They like taking energy. And then the major joints, other than the ones in the spine, so the shoulder joints and the hip joints. You do have an image of the hip joints, which I like to use right there. So the joints that you may not think about that are in this illustration are the sacroiliac joints on either side of your sacrum. And those maybe are a bit like the facet joints, is that there's not a ton of movement there in between your sacrum and your ilium bone, but it's obviously very important, and you really want those joints to be happy and functional. Just like the hip joints. But the hip joints, there's much more range of motion, in your hip joints. But either way, so just repair any energy leaks that you notice in either your sacroiliac joints or your hip joint. Then maybe your elbow joints and your wrist joints. Repair any leaks that you may have in your elbows or your wrists. Your knees, you can repair any leaks you have in your knee joints. And your ankles and your feet. You have a lot of joints in your ankles and your feet. Enable you to bend like each toe and bend your foot in all sorts of directions and rotate your ankles. So just repair any leaks, energy leaks in these joints, your ankles and your feet. And then your fingers have joints, right? So you can repair any leaks you have. You could do it literally like this, direct healing on one hand at a time, or you could just make a copy out in front of you to represent both your hands and heal both at once. And just check, run gold light through all the joints. So even if you're not sure about whether you're detecting a leak, it's always nice and helpful to run gold light through anything. So run gold light through all the joints in your hands and your fingers. And see how that feels for you. That's kind of a cool thing to do. See if it feels different. And if you still feel some weirdness in one of your joints, do extra gold light in that joint. All right, good job, good job, good job. So, going to go back and finish up the 5 essentials. So we've pretty much done them to some extent, all of them. All 5. So I'll just improv around and see how it is for everybody, how everyone's doing with that. So double check creative rings. Double check not only the flow through from your 7th on up and bringing energy down through them into your 7th. So check that if the center of them is unblocked, but also how much gold light do your creative rings generate? You want them to generate a lot of gold. Double check how present you are in the back of your auras. Like, are they compressed or are they as big as the front of your auras? And just let the backs of your auras expand and release. And unblock. All right. So interestingly, we've done like a lot of the more important things in the healing already, even though it was sort of sandwiched around 5 essentials work. So there's just a few things to do still, which will be pretty quick, actually. Okay, so wrapping up in just a few minutes, actually, because the rest of the stuff is important, but not time-consuming to actually do. Because the time-consuming part I already did before the healing, that was explaining it all. Okay, so for a vibrational shift, which could help with abundance and or creativity, whichever you want to focus on more or both at the same time. We're going to unblock chakra filaments. And I'm going to just abbreviate the word chakra for space, but I do mean chakra filament. Connections between your 7 physical body chakras and your 7 astral body. So just imagine out in front of you your 7 physical body chakras and your 7 astral body chakras. Imagine the filaments going in between them, carrying your energy and your body's energy back and forth, you know, like so the 7th chakra filament, unblock that enough to facilitate the vibrational shift in abundance that you would like, to the extent that's healthy and gentle. But I think really you don't have to keep thinking healthy and gentle, healthy and gentle. Just think at first like, okay, this is the vibrational shift in my abundance that's healthy and gentle for me to do right now. And just be like, okay, that's from A to B, going from A to B, right? Represent it that way. You know, this is where I am now in my abundance, and this is where I would like to be. That's like a good thing to work towards. It's not too much to work towards at once, right? So that B place, right? Going from A to B in your abundance and your vibrational shift, and then just go through each chakra filament and unblock enough so that you can make that shift. Just go through all the filaments one at a time. 7. Do 7 first, I would say. 6, 5. And maybe more blocked right by the chakra itself. There may be some damage and some leaking in the filament. So just use gold light, melt it all. 4, 4th chakra filament. If you notice anyone else corded to these filaments, by all means, melt those cords. So repair, unblock, melt cords. 4th chakra filament. 3rd chakra filament. Unblock enough to facilitate that vibrational shift in your abundance. 2nd chakra filament. Unblock it enough, repair, melt cords to facilitate that shift in your abundance. And 1st chakra. And first chakra is the chakra that's most explicitly about abundance. Although for a vibrational shift, you would need to be on board with all your chakras. So that's why we didn't just do the first chakra filament. Go ahead and melt many blocks as needed to facilitate that vibrational shift in your abundance. And melt cords. If there's any damage, any leaking, any energy spurting out, repair that. Melt cords from people. Nobody should be cording your chakra filament. Even for a chakra filament, even if you have a young child, a young child would cord naturally at the first chakra itself, not at the filament. You have someone cording at the filament, it's probably not your kid. Melt them away. And you can double check the colors if you are able to visualize color. If you're not able to visualize color, you could just do it with your intuition and just be like, okay, is any one of them kind of off as far as like the energy flowing through it? Meaning, is it white or black or silver? That would be really off. But maybe if your sister's energy is a different color, that would make it, noticeably off in color. So just double check if there's a filament that needs extra work. And if you don't know which one needs extra work, just imagine, okay, this is the filament that needs the most work. This is my chakra filament that needs the most work so that I can have a vibrational shift in my abundance that I'm really needing and wanting. And just use a lot of gold light. Melt everybody out, melt the cords, repair any leaks. So unblock your grounding. See how that is. Indie grounding, melt everybody out of your grounding, melt any cords, any connections going into your grounding. So that's unblocking chakra filaments to facilitate a vibrational shift in your abundance. But you could have substituted creativity if you feel like you're so awesome with abundance already. Okay, so this is a bit of a, I was going to say it's a backtrack, but it's not. But it's using a technique that we used earlier in this healing. Earlier, we healed mini use that did like a resistance tailspin. We did that like almost right at the very start of the healing. But this is heal parts of you, mini yous, that are most stuck about abundance. And that could be from this life or a past life. And it could be something that you don't even remember occurred, like something when you were, 20 that you've long forgotten about. You don't have to remember it. Just imagine these mini parts of you that are most stuck about abundance from this life or past lives, and just be nice and give them a healing. Use gold light. You can use reassuring language. You can use red or orange or yellow earth energy brought up from the core of the earth. Red earth energy, orange earth energy, yellow earth energy. Lots of gold light, melt away cords going into these parts of you. You may have agreements, unhealthy agreements, that are keeping these parts of you stuck. So you can imagine if you have any unhealthy agreements related to abundance, and just imagine them like a stack of papers if you want, and just use lots of gold light and melt them away. Because you do have free will, and it is possible to melt unhealthy agreements. And if you're worried like that, you have a relative that gives you money and you don't want to stop that, you just want to be able to receive it cleanly, that's fine. That's what this does. You can receive something cleanly, even if the person has a controlling intention when they give it to you. So you're just melting any unhealthy agreements, meaning, if you've promised to suffer over it, you melt that part. Melt the unhealthy agreements, and then just keep healing these parts of you that are most stuck about abundance. And as they get healed, they'll disappear. You won't see them as separate anymore. You'll just get your energy back. So you may only have a few left. If you want, you could search for some more that are still healthy and gentle to heal right now. Put out in front of you more mini yous that are stuck about abundance and heal those. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with these parts of me, can you recycle them? Great. And if you have any leftover parts of you that are still stuck about this stuff, about abundance, just wrap them up in gold light and give them to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me heal these parts of me? Couple deep breaths. Breathe into your major joints. Breathe into your spine. Breathe into all your auras. Feel your grounding releasing. If you can't feel it, don't worry. Don't stress out about that. Don't overthink it. Just, imagine your grounding, releasing energy that you're ready to release. So, this is quick. I explained it, and that took longer before the healing started. So there'll be a separate explaining chapter up there. But so for blasting beings, they're just invasive beings that, for one reason or another, can blast you as you're sleeping. And they blast your body, not you as a spirit. But there's a ripple effect going through to the communications of where you are on a spirit level, like on the astral, and you're like, whoa, I better get down there. And so it wakes you up. So there's no point in dealing with that, right? So just imagine any blasting beings that may target you in the near future in your sleep. And just say, angels, can you recycle these invasive beings? And you can check maybe if you got all of them, if there are any more, check, are there any invasive beings, specifically the blasting beings that can wake you up, that are likely to target you in the next few nights? Are there any that exist still? And if so, just say, angels, can you recycle these invasive beings? All right, good job, good job, good job. So now we'll wrap up. And then just a reminder, there will be no post-healing chit-chat after this, just because it's a Wednesday and my time is tight on Wednesdays. So we will do... So we'll align chakras, your major chakras. We'll clear STEBs, stubborn triggered energy blocks that are still triggered. And we'll unblock your 7th to 8th chakra connection. Okay? So, of course, grounding. We'll unblock your grounding a little extra. Indie grounding, gold light around the outer surface of your groundings, melt away any attachments. Chakra alignment. Check that out. How aligned are your chakras now compared to how they were before the start of the healing? Clear STEBs. You can make a big pile out in front of you of any energy blocks that are still triggered for any reason. And just the angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all these? So that way they'll remove any that are too much to do right now. And then angels, can you recycle any invasive beings that are plugged into these blocks? So the rest is very easy. Just bring up red earth energy from the core of the earth, soak these energy blocks, use gold light, melt cords between the blocks and other people and the blocks and yourself. Melt yourself out of these energy blocks, melt everyone else out of the energy blocks. So now you could just blow them up if you want, or just continue to melt them fully with gold light. Seventh to eighth unblocking. So your seventh chakra is in your head, in the top of your head, and your eighth chakra is up above you, above the top of your aura. So if this is the top of your aura, eighth chakra could be just a foot above that or even 10 feet above that. It comes and goes depending on how much your higher self cares about what you're doing at the moment. So you can imagine your astral body seventh chakra that has that connection to the eighth chakra, and imagine that seventh, eighth connection, repair it if there are any leaks. Pop out any hard objects that might be stuck in there. Just pop them out, have them explode. And repair. You could say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you recycle them? And pop out hard objects. Angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way of the repair? And repair. Unblock just above your seventh chakra so that there's no sort of baggage or drama filtering and messing the vibe of the eighth chakra energy that you're bringing into your seventh chakra. Especially any abundance related concerns and baggage, melt that away from your seventh chakra. Any concerns about taxes or bills, if you have any baggage around that, just melt it all away. That way you have wisdom, but not wisdom and clarity. Breath, breathe into all your joints, breathe into your grounding, your auras. Double check your spine, your disc joints, and your facet joints. So as we wrap up, you can just say, angels, can you please help me with my abundance and my safety and my peace? Angels, can you please help me to become more and more empowered? And angels, can you help me wrap up this healing? All right, great job. That's a healing. You're a rock star. Woo, 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 woo. So as we wrap up, just a reminder, that is my website address, jwhealing.com, and that is my email address, janet@jwhealing.com. So if you're a newbie, you've never worked with me before, feel free to purchase on the website if you wish. And then you could email me and introduce yourself. And that would be nice to learn more about you. Otherwise, eventually I will email you, but always fun if you start the volley on that one. And again, a reminder about March twin sets. We'll have more on joints, and of course more with abundance. All right. You're amazing. So I'm going to quick glance, see if anybody comments about the healing. This healing came just in time. My sister is in town. She annoys my mom. My mom gets mad at me when my mom gets mad at my mom gets mad at me when mom gets mad at me. I get hurt and upset for far too long. Yes, so hopefully this could help. You could redo the abundance, the resistance tailspin. Heal the mini U's that go into resistance tailspins. Someone says, thank you so much for this triplet set. Thank you. You're welcome. Someone says, thank you. Feeling relaxed. Oh, nice. All right, you guys. And as usual, I did test out some new stuff in this healing. So if you filled out your survey, it would help me learn and even get better. All righty. So we'll wrap up with some butterflies. How cute is that? And maybe a better view of this pretty image. Such a nice image. Okay, bye. Take care. I'll see you in the March twin set if you do that one. Bye, bye, bye. You're amazing.